Now that you've bought me, what do you want me to do?
Could we,
Perhaps Novak's finest effort along these lines was The Agony of Love, a seamy psychodrama about an affluent housewife played by Pat Barrington, who rebels against the gilded boredom of her marriage by leading a double life as a prostitute. The squalid premise was redeemed by talented writer-director William Rotsler's unwavering sympathy for the stifling predicament of a middle-class wife.
I don't know what a genius is, but I think Bill Rotsler might have been a genius, and in a lot of fields. He was a sculptor, he was a cartoonist, he wrote a lot of science fiction, he directed 25 motion pictures, and I think all but 2 of the pictures that he directed, he also wrote. He had an active mind.
Agony was as close to a stylistic and thematic tour de force as a feature shot in 5 days is ever likely to come. Students of the genre have noted the almost scene-by-scene resemblance of Agony of Love to surrealist director Louis Buñuel's Belle du Jour, which Rotsler's scenario matches right down to its eerie dream sequences. Exploitation was never above ripping off the masters, but if plagiarism occurred in this case, it was on Buñuel's part. Rotsler and Novak's Agony was released in 1966, a full year before Buñuel's more renowned work.
Quelle heure est-il?
Entre 2 et 5 heures, mais pas plus tard que 5 heures.
Et ta femme va bien?
Très bien, merci.
Où est-elle?
Là, à côté. Tu veux lui dire bonjour?
Avec plaisir. Comment ça va, petite ordure?
Alors, tu vas bien, espèce de traînée?
Vieille roulure.
Fumier?
Allumé!
Purin cime?
C'est la timone! Spermentrice!
Pierre!
Sometimes that can be quite marvelous. When you're forced into an economic situation, often it's intriguing. The pressure creates something interesting. Little Shop of Horrors is a genuinely funny and dark movie made in like 2 or 3 days with no money, and it has a bizarre well, you know, mise en scene. It has this atmosphere that's so out there. It's like, what? You know, and I don't think they could have done that if they tried to do it. I don't think they're good enough. But I think it part of the pressure of the situation, it's like a what's it called? You know, like a performance art, almost. You know, you're forced to come up with something, and sometimes they did very good, very good. It's not Hollywood, it's art. It's an artist's story, and that's what is exciting about someone like Ed Wood. That's what's exciting about someone like Russ Meyer, or you know, any fringe artist. It's interesting when they have that kind of commitment to go out, you know, and do that. And it's there aren't that many filmmakers really who have that kind of. If you look at Star Wars is a big budget B picture. Alien is a remake of It, Terror from Outer Space with a big budget. You know, the only difference between these pictures and the schlock from the past is money and the skill of the film.
They come from the bowels of hell, a transformed race of walking dead, zombies guided by a master plan for complete domination of the Earth. Plan 9 from outer space.
When I met Ed Wood, Forey Ackerman brought him to the first screening of my film, Schlock, and he said, John Landis, do you know Edward Wood? And I went, Ed Wood? He went, yes, hello. And I said, you made Plan 9 from Outer Space? You've heard of it? Yeah. I was like, I was so excited, I couldn't believe it. The thing about Ed Wood's films is his sincerity, you know? I mean, his sincerity. In Hollywood, they say that sincerity is the most important thing. And once you can fake that, then you have it made. But Ed Wood really did have a tremendous passion for the work. He was terrible, you know, but he had passion. And that comes through when you see some of his movies.
It is safe to state that the grandchildren of some of the people in this theater will not be born on Earth.
You can say you like it, you don't like it, it's good, it's bad, but to dismiss someone, you know, I mean, the classic artist Van Gogh, you know, he is mad, he cuts his ear off, you know, he's pathetic, he dies in pain, and now he's considered the great Van Gogh. And it's...
Why is the modern world shocked by this headline? Why? Once, not so very long ago, the people of the world were saying,
airplanes. Why?
Nature makes mistakes. It's proven every day. This person is a transvestite, a man who is more comfortable wearing girls' clothes. The term transvestite is the name given by medical science to those persons who wear the clothing of the opposite sex.
I thought I could stop wearing these things. I tried, honestly, I tried. I haven't had a stitch of them on for nearly 2 weeks until tonight. Then I couldn't stand it anymore. I had to put them on or go out of my mind.
Give this man satin undies, a dress, a sweater, and a skirt, or even the lounging outfit he has on, and he's the happiest in
Tom Edwards, in charge of saucer field activities, was to make the greatest decision of his career. He made that decision. Colonel Edwards gave the signal to fire.
One of the film's most noted features is, of course, the not-so-special effects.
There are a couple of scenes where it looks like there are actually two pie tins that are stapled together, and they went around with a string and just took these pie tins stapled together and tried to make a flying saucer out of it. And I talked to one of the guys who did the props. He said, no, we didn't have the budget for pie tins. We used paper plates. They took a paper plate, they doused it in kerosene, they took a little cigarette lighter and just somehow let it burn on fire, making it look like a burning flying saucer. And I think that's the magic of Wood's films.
I'd like to hear the story to the fullest.
Only the infinity of the depths of a man's mind can really tell the story.
But this is Ed Wood's own story, in his voice, and in the voices of the characters from the infinite depths of his mind.
No one can really tell the story. Mistakes are made. But there is no mistaking the thoughts in a man's mind. A new life is begun.
No child is inherently bad. Adults create the world children live in. And in this process, parents play the key role.
Glenn's father had no love for his son. His father wanted Glenn to be a football hero or a baseball player so that he could brag to his cronies down at the corner saloon as his cronies bragged to him about their own sons.
The sins of the father?
You leave my father out of this. That plus the lack of a mother's attention.
After school, Ellen would go home to find the mother who had always wanted a girl and the father who didn't care one way or the other.
Little Eddie Wood, his parents called him Junior, took sanctuary in the cinema, a fantasy dream world where good and bad were clearly defined. Even more than his cowboys, he loved his monsters, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy. He was drawn to play acting, making amateur movies, and wearing costumes.
You want to borrow your sister's dress? What for?
I want to wear it to the Halloween party.
There are names for boys who go around wearing girls' clothes.
Oh, don't be silly, darling. You go ahead and wear your sister's dress, Glenn. You always did look much better as a girl than you do as a man.
Glenn did wear the dress to the Halloween party. He even took first prize. Then one day, it wasn't Halloween any longer.
Eddie Wood invented a female persona for himself. He called himself Shirley.
And the way I get it, this character he created, much as an author creates a character in a book, was invented as a love object to take the place of the love he never received in his early youth through lack of it from his parents.
Well, what are you trying to do, psychoanalyze me?